Today we're talking about the most commonly used stick rods and their applications, where you might use them. Let's do it.
All right, let's do a quick summary now of the most commonly used stick rods. These are clips from previous videos. So first up, the 6010, which is a fast freeze rod. It's DC only, but all position rod. Usually you use some type of whip and pause type motion here, and you get very distinct ripples because that puddle freezes so quickly with every motion of the rod. 6010 is used an awful lot for open butt root joints, and usually you're using somewhere between a 30 to a 37 or 40 degree angle on the bevel, and you just ram that rod in there and you're basically almost welding it from the back side. You keyhole it out, and basically there are a lot of techniques you can use. You can set it up where you can just drag it. You can do a little keyhole whip and pause. Lots of ways to skin the cat. 6011 is like a cousin of a 6010, but can be used on all polarities. And it's good for doing portable work. Like I've got this little inverter machine here that will not run a 6010, but it will run a 6011. And I did a little quick repair on a friend's garage door, and it was just a ticket. Not worried about any wind. Ran it off a 115 drop cord and did a nice little job. Got his garage doors repaired. Very easy to weld downhill, horizontal, side to side, uphill, overhead, doesn't matter, all positions. Also run really nice off an AC buzz box. So will a 6013. An awful lot of 6013s are used on AC buzz boxes. In fact, I did a video a while back. I compared DCEN to EP to AC. 3 different welds, cut and etched all of them. The puddle actually looked almost identical on all 3 welds. Very subtle differences, no matter if I was on DCEN, DCEP, or alternating current, just a little bit, maybe a little bit more spatter on alternating current, but cut and etch test and the visual all looked very similar. Not much difference at all. Big difference when you get out of position with the different polarities. 7014 welds a lot like a 6013, puts down a little bit more metal. I kind of like it a little bit more, but it is rather a lot like the 7024 in the appearance of the puddle. Like it's just kind of hard to distinguish puddle from slag. It's not a defined, crisp line like the 7018, but it does have its place. Not a low hydrogen rod, does not need to be kept in an oven. Rated for all positions, so a multi-pass weld like this, all beads run just about the same. I did a cut and etch test on this one too. As you could tell, I like to test things. And obviously a cut and etch test just tests one cross section, so you could have defects other places in the bead, but what it does is just gives you information. It just helps you develop a procedure, helps you get confidence in what you're doing. It's a really good training tool. It's especially helpful when you can do it immediately after welding, so you can correlate what went on with a puddle and the result here. You can see how much it actually penetrated versus what it looked like. 7018 electrodes are classified as low hydrogen electrodes. They are the backbone of the construction industry here in the USA anyway, and they're all position overhead welds like this are no problem. The best technique I have found is just pretty much weld it with the same heat, just maybe a little bit less than I would flat. Hold a tight arc, don't get carried away with too much angle. Set the machine hot enough where when you hold a tight arc it won't stick, then hold a tight arc. That's the best advice for overhead welding I could give anybody. And a nice quick cut and etch test will eliminate any doubts on your settings or procedure. 7018s are sometimes required to be run using stringer beads, a limit on how wide you can go with the bead, but the weave passes are still used. It just depends on code requirements. This is a 332 7018 going uphill on a cover pass on a practice plate, preparing to weld on pipe. A lot of pipe welds are still done using the weave technique. If you need practice on stringer welds or stringer beads, just patting beads on a piece of plate is some of the best practice you can get. You'll get more arc time, more practice time, less prep time, and stacking beads like this is just some of the best practice there is.